Now you're probably thinking, what's a bunch of pallet wood going to be used for wood turning? Well, it's handy stuff to have. First of all, it's free, and you can get it just about anywhere. These pallets are given away. Just take them, load them in the back of the car, bring them back to your shop and disassemble them. All the tools that you really need is a crowbar, and you can get away with just a crowbar and a ball peen hammer with the... But one of these handy tools, I think it was around about $30. You can get it on Amazon. It's an air-driven... Well, it impacts the nails from the pointy side right the way through the pallet. So this tool here is pretty handy to get rid of those nails, and you've got to get rid of every last nail and metal from the pallet wood for it to be worthy on the lathe. And I'm pretty fortunate to have an upright plane, and if you're going to use the pallet woods, you can feed these in two at a time to get a smooth surface on at least each side, and they're flat, so that what we're going to do is to glue these two pieces together. Two short planks, of which this one's basically 5 inches wide. I've cut them in half, now planed these surfaces here, and it's very, very flat on this surface. On the other side, there's still the old pallet wood, cracks and all. So what we're going to do is just glue these two halves together like so, and let them dry overnight. It's the next day, and the two boards that have been glued together are now I've put onto the chop saw and cut them into 5x5 squares. So as you can see here, we've got a square piece of two boards joined together, and I'm going to mount that on the lathe. Now I've taken one of these blocks over to the drill press, and I'm going to drill a hole. Doesn't matter about the width or the size, around about 3/16 drill bit all the way through. And we're going to make this round with the 5/8 bowl gouge. Okay, so you get an idea here what we're doing. We're creating a sacrificial chuck. So this here is for the large 5-inch chuck that I use, and we've made it out of pallet wood. On this side it's going to be made flat, and it's going to be grooved to apply purchase on the piece that we're adhering this to. Now these sacrificial chucks, you can actually get 2 uses out of this, because this is about 1 inch that's going to be used at the bottom of the bowls that you're turning and holding it affixed to the lathe. We're using epoxy. I use a Starbond epoxy, which is extremely good for adhering to woods. I've never had one come loose. In fact, it's been spinning around 1200 RPMs and nothing lets loose, even with the tailstock removed. So it's a good way of holding pieces onto the lathe, allowing the maximum amount of material for you to create the piece that you're dealing with. You don't need to have a tenon or a mortise, you just need to have this glued on the bottom. I don't use it all the time, I use it some of the times depending on what I'm turning. So I'm going to turn this around in the truck. I'm going to make this flat. Just using a ruler here to make sure it's dead flat, and it is. So that's the side that's going to be adhered to the bottom of your piece that you're creating. What I will do is use this pointing tool to make a series of grooves on this face. Just got a bit of 80 grit sandpaper. Not really to make it any smoother, it's just to keep those grooves that's going to hold the epoxy resin. So I've got a small project here that I'm going to stick the sacrificial truck on the bottom. I'm using the Starbond 5-minute epoxy, so it adheres and sets, as it says, 5 minutes. The sacrificial truck has got the grooves turned into it. It's around about 1/4 inch thick, and of course that's where the truck fits. So simple plan here is just to lather up the 5-minute epoxy on the surface that's going to adhere to the bottom of the bowl. I've used this small one rather than the larger one because I didn't have a project that was going to be big enough for the larger one. Well, at the moment, you can get the idea. Make sure every part of this chuck is covered with the epoxy. Don't leave any blacks, and it doesn't matter if it squeezes out. Now to get this central on the bottom of the bowl, I put the awl through the hole that I drilled previously, and I just let it slide down the awl. Give it a bit of a twist, make sure it's adhering. I'll leave this as fairly level as possible while it sets. So there we have it, the sacrificial truck mounted in the truck and adhered or epoxied to the bottom of the piece that's going to be turned. So you can see here, from what was pallet wood glued together, most importantly free pallet wood glued together, and then turned into a sacrificial truck. And you can use these, of course, at free will, doesn't cost you anything. And the most important thing about all of this, of course, sacrificial, meaning when you've got the bowl turned around, it's all nearly finished and you're going to get rid of the foot. Well, there's the foot. Just turn it right off until you've got the bottom looking as you want it. So that's it, guys. Sacrificial chuck. Cheers.